Go ahead and find a comfortable way to sit. Allowing for that sense of uplift as you lift up through the crown of the head, sense of sitting taller. And if your eyes are still open, taking in the surroundings, your visual surroundings, just to kind of get a sense of your immediate environment. And if you were feeling particularly scattered as you were trying to center, with your eyes open, you could be even labeling in your mind the objects that you see. You know, chair, lamp, dog, rug, couch, yoga mat, block, you know, whatever it is, and then going back, and you could use that labeling of the things that you see in your sensory experience as a way to help you to ground and to focus, to not feel so scattered, to center, to pull all your scattered energies into the center. And then as you feel ready, you can go ahead and close your eyes. Taking some longer, slightly longer breaths, only breathing in and out through the nose as you breathe. So we're going to use some mantras to help us focus and center tonight. Just kind of feeling like many of us over the past week or so, a little bit longer, I guess, are feeling a little bit, if not a little bit, probably a lot scattered and not feeling very centered, and kind of back to that level of feeling confused and perhaps even angry, and just a whole mess of convoluted emotions over the world events that are going on of late. And so a good thing to do to help us to kind of navigate or to come back to a place of beginning again is to remind ourselves that we can trust in our own strength, trust in ourselves, trust in things that have already happened for you, that you have already done, let's say, from a place of strength, and how much strength then we have within ourselves to be able to begin again and to keep moving forward. So there are about 10 of these, 10 mantras, and so I'm just going to go ahead and read them out loud and give you a little bit of time in between each one. And if you'd like, you can repeat the mantra either silently, or you could actually even say it out loud, since all of you, and not worry about others hearing you, since your mics are muted at this point. So here goes the first one. I deeply and profoundly believe in myself. I recognize how far I've come already. I acknowledge how many obstacles I've overcome and how much growth I've made. I give myself credit for the ways that I've shown up for myself and for others. I have done hard things before, and I can do hard things again. I have all the resources I need within me. I trust that I can stand on my own when I choose to. And I trust that I can reach out for additional support when I choose to. I take myself, my strengths, and my inner power seriously. I am capable of great things. So I invite you now to take some deeper breaths and just let the words continue to wash over you. Perhaps remembering one that particularly had an impact or resonated deeply with you. And repeat that one in your mind or say it out loud. I'll repeat one of my favorites. I have all the resources I need within me. So stoking that inner fire, that fire of inner strength, fanning it, fanning the flames, fanning them here in your yoga practice so that you can go out into the world and make some magic happen. All right, so we're going to do now, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And we're going to do some pranayama practice right now. So if you need to take a little bit of a reprieve from your sitting posture, if you need to open up your legs, kind of extend them forward, or crawl forward and bring the legs behind you, just to kind of open up the backs of your knees so that we can sit for a few more minutes. Or if you'd like to, you can change your seated posture. I think maybe I'll do that to a different seated posture. So I'm gonna sit on put my bolster on top of my heels and sit in no, I think I'll put the block between my feet instead for virasana. Yeah. So we're going to do some nodi sodhana. So this is the alternate nostril breathing. So remembering that you need to have some kind of nose clip apparatus that you create with your hand. Sometimes this is called the deer mudra, so that you're taking your first two fingers, index finger and middle finger, down toward to kind of rest on the thumb pad or wherever they sort of fall when you bend them. And so your ring finger will be available to pinch off one side of the nose, and then the thumb will pinch off the other side. And you're going to toggle between the two, right? So go ahead and also then align the body so that you're not leaning forward. Shoulders are stacked up over the hips, and you've brought your chin in so that the ears are stacked up over the shoulders, and there's no strain in the neck. So you can go ahead and inhale through the right side. So you pinch off the left, inhale through the right, and retain both sides now. Pinch off both nostrils. And then open up the left side, exhale through the left. Then inhale through the left once you have emptied. And retain the breath. Relax the lungs when you retain, and then exhale through the right. So now continue on, inhaling through the right. And retain. And exhale through the left. So now you're going to start to, we're going to count the breath out. So as you're inhaling now through the left, count it and fill up to the count of 4. And then when you retain the breath, only count to 4, or only retain the breath for the count, no more than the count of 4. And then when it's time to exhale, start to count out to about the count of 8, so that it's about double the length of the inhalation. Then inhaling through the right side again to the count of 4. Retain. And exhaling to the count of 8. Inhale to the count of 4. Retain. Exhale to the count of 8. Inhale to the count of 8. Oh, 4, I'm sorry. Retain. And exhale to the count of 8. So do about 3 more on your own. And complete one more, last one. And you can let your arm, your dear Mudra hand, come and rest on top of your lap. And just keep your eyes closed for another few moments and just observe. So we can practice alternate nostril breathing in times where we wish to invoke more of a sense of balance. Remembering that you have a right to be balanced. You have a right to live in balance. Balance between scattered energy, more outwardly focused, presentation, emergence of energy, and the balance between energy moving in and centering you, feeling grounded. And then as you're ready, you can take your palms together in front of your heart as you bow your head. And so it begins, the practice of yoga. And then as you're ready, you can release your hands and open your eyes. Okay, so you can go ahead and stand up. We're going to use the chair now for some twisting action, but you'll also need a belt and a blanket and a block. So if you want to go ahead and get all those props together so that we can do some seated twists. So typically when we sit on the chair for twists, we are sitting on sideways on the chair, right? So you can go ahead and do that. Put your blanket on top of the seat of the chair so that when you sit and you put your feet on the floor, you have that sense that the knees are either at the same plane as the hips or they're a little bit lower than the top of the hip socket. Excuse me. So then you're going to take your belt, slip it on like it's putting on a pair of pants. And then you can tighten. But don't tighten it too much because you're going to put your block now between your feet down there on the floor so that the inner big toe mounds are pressing gently into the sides of the big toe mounds are pressing gently into the block. And then also you might notice that this is enabling your knees to track forward, and there's actually maybe even a slight turning in of the knees, which is good, which is healthy. And you want to be able to press down actively down through the feet, so all the mounds of the toes, the roots of the toes are pressing down into the floor, as is the heels of the feet. So you're going to try to maintain this alignment as you twist, right? So now you can go ahead and do that. So you're turning the belly toward to face the back of the chair. Well, at least it's trying to face the back of the chair. Holding on to the back of the chair with your hands, allowing for that rotation. Belly's turning, chest is turning, but the shoulders are released. There's no strain in the shoulders, no strain in the neck. And breathing. As you're deepening the twist, also keep the spine lengthening. So there's an upward movement as well as the twist or the spiraling movement. And then when you're ready, you can let go of the back of the chair and kind of spring back. Soon, right? One more week to spring back. All right, so then you can just turn around to the other side of your chair, or I'm going to move my chair so then that way I don't turn my back to you. That's up to you. Adjust your blanket if you need to, and your block. Still going between set it between the feet. The big toe mounds are going to hold on to it. Make sure the strap is nice and supportive, that's taut. You're able to kind of even press out the outer thighs kind of outward into the strap to keep it from getting loose. And you're turning to face the chair. All right, one more deep breath here. And then you can spring right back. All right, so then you can loosen your belt and let the belt slide down off of your legs, down to the feet. And then you can come to the floor. You can move your chair off to the side. So let's get ready for some downward dogs. So we'll do some downward dogs and some cobras. So you can just move everything off to the side. So you can start off on all fours. Let me bring my screen back down. Curling your toes under, shifting back. So as you kind of settle into this modified child's pose, just noticing. One more full breath here. And then as you're ready, go ahead and rise up. So remember to try to allow the weight of your body to come down onto the balls of the feet, and then kind of swiveling a little bit on the balls of the feet so that you can swivel your heels out a little wider to the side so that the outer edges of your feet are going to take up two parallel lines. So then when you're ready, you can lower yourself back down onto your knees. And then we're going to lie on the floor, right on your belly, for some Cobra. So here in the Cobra, we're going to do a slightly different variation for your feet. So instead of having the top of the feet just rest on the floor, the way we have been sort of historically doing it, tuck your toes under so that your feet are more in a downward dog kind of position. This will keep your knees in a healthy relationship with the tibia and the femur meeting at the knee in in healthy union as you try to take your heels back. And then just kind of press your forearms into the floor. So we'll do this Sphinx variation of the Cobra. So you can have your arms be apart if you like that one, or if the hands tend to come together for this, that's fine too. But you're pressing down through the forearms, trying to open the chest, trying to take your shoulders back. Making all kinds of space in your spine. All right, so let's take one more breath here. And then you can start to walk your hands back in. Squeeze the elbows in alongside the body so that you can strong arm your way back up to all fours. And then let's prepare for another downward dog. Rising as you're ready. So trying to remember to keep your elbows from locking. And the one way to find out if you're locking them or not is to bend them outward slightly. And then you'll say, oh yeah, I was locking them. Rolling your sit bones up, bend the knees, roll the sit bones up. And keep trying to get the feet to be kind of pinned to the mat by the balls of the feet. And then when you need to, come down onto your knees again. And then we'll come down into another Cobra. So this time, as you're setting yourself up, we're going to do a little bit of a twisting Cobra. So just sort of walking your arms over to one side. And breathing. Notice when you hold your breath. Another full breath here. And then you can walk your arms back to the center, and then we'll go to the other side. All right, then walk your arms back to the center. And let's walk them forward, or slide the elbows forward a little bit, and then you're going to stack up your forearms on top of each other for some crocodile. All right, so take one more breath here. And you can take your arms back in, closer to you, closer to the body. Walk the hands in closer. And then you can squeeze the elbows in alongside the body as you push yourself up. All right. So let's now begin to add into your practice this evening a little Pinchamayurasana, or at least the precursor to Pinchamayurasana. So to remind you of what this posture is, Pinchamayurasana is the forearm balance, but we're not going to be balancing on the forearms. What we're going to do instead is to use it to encourage some upper body strength. So this is when you're basically going to try to start out achieving a downward dog, except you're taking your elbows to the floor so that your dog paws are going to be from the hands all the way to the elbows. And then you lift up. And so sometimes this is referred to as the dolphin, because people like to kind of come forward and then press back. And so I think that you're supposed to look like a dolphin as you're going back and forth here. But just see if you can accept the challenge. Maybe go back and forth 2 or 3 times. Or maybe just 1 time. So remember that when you're setting yourself up for this, your elbows are going to be under the shoulders. So the shoulders are kind of stacked up. And for some of us, as you start pressing back a little bit more, the angle at the elbows will become greater than 90 degrees. And then when you need to, you can lower yourself back down to your knees carefully. So that's a nice challenge for spring. So we will continue to revisit that. So go ahead and take your bolster now, and we'll do some twisty childs. You deserve it. You've earned them, right? So derotating first. And trying to remember the lift up through the spine like you were when you were twisting with the chair. Spiraling action is going on, but so is the elongation action. And then when you're ready, spinning forward. Pause for a moment to put your hands on top of the bolster and see if you can, as you press your hands into the bolster, you can kind of turn your body a little bit more to face the bolster. And then go ahead and drape yourself across the top. Let the elbows slide out to the sides. Close your eyes. All right, so take another breath here. And you can push yourself up. And we can twist to the other side, so you can just kind of spin yourself around. De-rotating. And then spin. Reminding yourself to come back to something that's concrete in your experience. If you feel still too scattered, or you're returning to a state of being scattered. If you're unable to ground and be centered, find something concrete in your experience. In the body, it could be the overall experience of the body, shape of the body, your feet, hands. All right, so you can take another big breath here. And as you are exhaling, go ahead and push yourself up. All right, so now let's twist one more time, and do that with the threading the needle pose. So I've been trying to encourage you guys, but also reminding myself to do this, putting a extra padding underneath the knees whenever I'm kneeling on them for more than just a second. So go ahead and open up a blanket underneath the knees. I suggest a block for the arm, and then you can use bolster for your head, just because it's a little softer. And then you're going to go ahead and reach under, put the head on the bolster, so you might have to make little adjustments. And then as you're opening the chest to the side, and you can take your arm over the side of the head and rest the hand on the block. And you can turn the block up to a taller, higher setting if you like. It's up to you.
So then after your last breath here, you can take your hand that's on the block, more so it's right in front of the face, put the hand on the mat. And so press that hand into the floor as you engage the back of the arm, the tricep, pushing yourself up. And we will go to the second side. So again, adjusting the distance for things. You might even have to adjust again once you're down there. But you can always do that, no big deal. So you're reaching under, second side. And taking your arm up. Whoop, I missed my block. And you can take your last breath here. Taking your hand to the floor. And then when you slide it closer to the body, once you can see your hand, then you can press the palm into the floor as you push yourself up. Find the strength in your tricep and the back of the arm. Okay. Okay, so then let's come to lie on the floor on your back. Actually, and have a block. You don't need anything. I don't think you need anything underneath just the mat or the floor, your carpet at home. And so as you, excuse me, as you lie down, you're going to take the block and it's going to go between your feet. The way we had it when we were at the chair, right? And so you can kind of scoot your pelvis forward and start to just roll down. So you're using your abdominal muscles to descend. And then you can straighten your legs out. So the block between the big toe mounds is going to help you simulate Tadasana, so that the outer edges of the feet are parallel. The heels are not pressing against the block, just the big toe mounds. So the heels are apart or away from the block. And you're trying to even draw the pinky sides of your feet towards you as you're pressing the heels away. Okay, so now we're going to slide one heel in so that you bend the knee, and then you can slide the other knee in and just leave your block down there so that we can use that as sort of home base. Excuse me, I apologize for my, excuse me, the frogs in my throat. Okay, so we're going to take one foot up, one leg up. So this is a sort of a hybrid posture. So it's a hybrid of Supta Padangusthasana, but it's also, there's some happy baby going on here. Yeah, you can see that. So as you are clasping your hands around the back of your thigh, also let your thigh, and do this from the hip socket, let the thigh externally rotate a little bit, just so your knee is sort of pointing to the floor, you know, over there on the side of the body. Just pointing. It's not going to touch the floor. It's just facing the floor. And then when you're ready, you can slide your other heel, keep the heel in contact with the floor as you straighten the leg, the other leg, straighten it all the way down to the floor if you can. And so trying to recreate that Tadasana feeling in your foot, the one that's straight. Actually, both of them can be Tadasana. So if you can walk your hands up your lower leg and wrap your hands around your calf, the lower leg if you like, or around the ankle. So the knee, and you can every now and then also, sometimes it's nice to straighten the leg up and then re-bend it. And as you are externally rotating the thigh, make sure you're doing that from the hip and not the ankle, so that your knee is healthy here. And so then some people can slip their hand around the pinky side of the foot, and that this is the happy baby component. But if not, just hold on to the lower leg. I find it to be almost, if not more, beneficial, because you can allow for this sort of more dynamic, extend the leg up so that you release the quadriceps, and then bend again, bend again, bend again, bend again. It's a town in Scotland. Bend again. Okay, sorry. The end of a day. All right, so then you're going to take that leg back to the floor, foot to the floor, slide your foot down, and see if you can find your block and put the big toe mounds to the block. Flex the feet so that the heels are pressing out, but keep the back of the heels as you flex your feet. Keep the heels on the floor, the back of the heels on the floor. Don't let the heels lift up. All right, so now second side, second leg, slide the heel up. Actually, slide both of the heels up. So you start off with both of your knees bent, and then pick up your foot. Allow for that slight external rotation of the thigh as you clasp your hands around the back of the thigh, or maybe around the back of the knee. And you can maybe be holding on to the ankle, walk your hands up the lower leg, and then slide the heel out on the floor of your other leg to straighten it. Perhaps going for a little wider external rotation of the thigh into the more happy baby shape. All right, so let's take a few more breaths here. And then you could return the foot to the floor, sliding your heel out. Nice. And big toe mounds to the block. So you can add in some other alignment particulars here as you're lying down in Tadasana. It's like the sleeping, the relaxing mountain. Even though everything is just like Tadasana, so you're really not relaxing. So we need another word, supine mountain, I guess. So the inner thighs are rolling in and down toward the floor. You can gently press the back of your head into the floor, lift the chest, roll the shoulders under as you externally rotate the arms, letting the palms face up. And then also you could be adjusting your head, taking your chin down toward the throat, and then you might have to readjust your arms. And now, see if you can now let the legs go into Shavasana. So you're going to now relax the legs. So now your feet flop away from the block. They flop outward. Thighs roll away from each other. Yeah. So moving into Shavasana. And now see if you can come back to Tadasana. And see if you can, as you bring your big toe mounds to the block, to kind of hug the sides of the block, do it from the hips, not from the ankles. And if you notice that you turn your feet by the ankles, then drop your feet out again and do it again, but do it from the hips, the hip sockets, top of the thighs. Teaching your hip flexors to do their job. This is their job, is to keep your legs aligned. Whether you're standing or walking or running, any of the things that we do, bending to sit. It is the job of the hip flexors to keep your knees tracking in the direction that they're supposed to. So then let's do it one more time. Let your feet flop apart. Ploop. Thighs roll away from each other. Shavasana. Just release. Loose legs. And then when you're ready, start to move from the hips, from the top of the thighs, internal rotation of your thighs as you bring your big toe mounds to the block. And just notice a difference. Notice the engagement of your lower abdomen and also your inner groins and inner thighs. Perhaps even the glutes. Yeah? Okay. All right, so then go ahead and slide one heel up, slide the other heel up, keep the heels on the floor, and you're going to roll to the side. Push yourself up. All right. So let's get the chair back onto your mat and do some halasana. I still have pine needles from my Yule tree. I just found some. Okay, so remember that you want to have your chair on your mat, or it can be up into the back feet, can be kind of wedged into a place at the wall or against a heavy piece of furniture. You're going to have a blanket to use as the for the shoulders, and then a bolster can be for a runway for the back. So you can kind of eye up the position or the placement of your props before you even lie down on them. Knowing where your shoulders are going to be on the blanket and how long your arms are, as you're going to reach for the chair legs. So you don't have to do too much micromanaging of the position of your props when you come to lie down. And then when you're ready, go ahead and roll your legs up. So once you roll up with your legs up on the chair, try to the best of your abilities, avoid turning your head so that you don't strain the neck. See if you could also have a sense of spread across the shoulders, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. So just enjoying all the space that this posture affords your back. So you can take your last breath here. And start to uncurl yourself, extract your feet from the chair, unroll the body down to the floor or onto the mat, actually, or the bolster, your runway, right? So I've been sort of pausing with my feet up in the air. Bringing your feet back down to the earth. And so you can take your knees in one at a time, just sort of slide your feet out a little bit wider than they were once they get to the floor. And then just drop one knee in at a time. And then the other. And then when it feels like the right time, you can just roll to the side and push yourself up. All right. So once you're up, we can prepare for the 90-90 version of the pigeon. So I'm trying to remember to encourage us all to open up a blanket, so that, because we tend to, I have a nice big huge yoga mat that I don't really, I could just do it right on the yoga mat, but most of you have the usual rectangular shaped yoga mat, right? So just open up a blanket so that there's more cushioning underneath the ankles, especially the inner malleoli, when we do this 90-90 version of the pigeon. So you're splitting the legs. So keeping the focus, or the kind of concentrating, putting a little bit, about 15% of your attention is going to focus on your feet and your knees. So keeping the 90-degree angles going on at the knees and also at the ankles. And then noticing that when you do come into the forward bending part of the posture, how the back leg especially kind of gets a little, kind of shrinks in, or so you can go ahead and just be mindful and try to be vigilant over the body. Having something to rest your head on. Breathing easily, gently. Perhaps even kind of getting out of the way of the breath, letting the breath do its job of breathing you, instead of the other way around. We don't have to consciously breathe. one of those things the autonomic nervous system takes care of for us. So remember, if you like, you can you can push up and adjust the angle. So if you were folding over the knee, you could come up and then forward bend, refold over the shin bone toward the foot. All right, so take one last breath here. And go ahead and push yourself up. And we're going to switch. Exchange the front leg with the back leg. And again, having that be the vigilance or the focus, attention, be on maintaining those 90-degree angles. So you can take another breath here. And start to push yourself up. All right. So let's take yourself to the wall. And I've been trying to encourage you guys to roll up your sticky mat at this point. See if I can find mine. And so that you can use it as a prop between your legs. So you can bring that to the wall with you. And then you can even use this blanket that you've already opened up on your mat and put that underneath you at the wall to give you the padding or maybe even a little warmth from the floor. And then your bolster will go to the wall as well. So everything else about viparita karani will be pretty similar. So we're trying to encourage viparita karani to be
not just restorative, but also therapeutic.
So as you sit on the side of the bolster, so you're going to go into it just the way you would for the non-therapeutic variety. And then slip your belt on and take the belt up to that place right above your knees, middle thighs maybe. And you want it to be tight enough, or you're going to make it taut enough so that there's a little bit of space between your knees, and there'll be a little bit of space at the big toe mounds as well, so that you can put the mat there. So you can swing your swing your legs up, put the mat into its place, so it goes between the knees, and then also it's being held by the big toe mounds, but heels are apart. Outer edges of the feet are parallel. Tadasana feet, even here. So if you have any extra fabric from your blanket, you could even kind of tuck your hands into it like mittens. Make any other little adjustment that you feel that you need to be comfortable. Closing your eyes. When you feel scattered, or you feel that the mind has been drawn into the world of thought, then slowly try to bring yourself back to something concrete in the body. So you could embrace yourself, wrap your arms around your chest. Perhaps they may fold, excuse me, around the neck, or the throat, or the chin, or the nose. Open up the arms. And you could start to bend your knees a little bit so that you can loosen your strap and remove your sticky mat. Bend your knees, slide your feet down the wall, and go ahead and take your belt off. Excuse me. And then go ahead and roll to your side. And then when it seems like the right time, you can go ahead and push yourself up. Come to sit up. And you can bring the palms together in front of your heart as you bow your head. And remember now, you already have everything that you need inside. Namaste.